Imagine waking up on this exact date, July 27th, 2026, and realizing that, well, 92% of the internet traffic you used to rely on has just completely vanished into a single chat window.
Yeah, it's a wild thought. I mean, the digital map we've used for a quarter of a century hasn't just changed, it's literally been deleted.
Exactly. For decades, there was this expectation of a straight line on the internet. You type a question into a box, you get a list of 10 blue links, you click one, and boom, you arrive at your destination. It was clean, predictable.
Right, it was a highly managed ecosystem. We all understood the roads, and marketers definitely understood how to build the billboards along those roads. But the reality we're looking at in the SEO Daily Technology Report, published on July 27, 2026, shows that those old roads are simply gone.
Totally gone.
Yeah, the gatekeepers have changed, the rules of visibility have been rewritten, and artificial intelligence is no longer just like a feature you toggle on or off. It is the fundamental infrastructure of discovery.
And our mission for this deep dive is to decode that massive shift for you. We've got a towering stack of data here from the July 27, 2026 report, painting a wild picture of how AI has completely taken over internet search.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the sheer volume of traffic moving away from traditional search bars and into conversational interfaces is staggering.
The numbers from the new Previsible study in this report are incredibly stark. As of July 2026, ChatGPT alone commands 92.4% of all standalone AI referral traffic.
Wait, 92.4%? That is an absolute monopoly.
I mean, it's bordering on it, yes. And to put the velocity of this shift into perspective, that number was sitting around 84% just back in December of 2025.
Wow.
The volume of usage is exploding right alongside it. In May 2026 alone, monthly large language model sessions grew 9.9 times, hitting over 644,000 sessions across the tracked sites. We are watching consumer behavior pivot in real time. And OpenAI is clearly weaponizing that momentum. Look at what happened on July 23, 2026. They integrated Yelp directly into ChatGPT Search. Suddenly, reviews, photos, business hours, ratings, they're all baked right into the chat interface. It essentially turned ChatGPT into a local search powerhouse overnight.
Which is a nightmare scenario for local SEO strategies that businesses have relied on for decades. I mean, you used to optimize your Google business profile and hope for a map pack ranking. Now an AI is synthesizing your entire local reputation before the user even considers clicking a link.
Right.
And while ChatGPT is dominating, the broader AI ecosystem is experiencing these massive tectonic shifts too. Claude quietly overtook Perplexity back in March 2026, growing 64 times since late 2024. Meanwhile, Perplexity actually dropped 61% from its traffic peak, and Copilot has practically collapsed, down 96% from its 2025 high.
So, ChatGPT is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the standalone AI world. But there's a data point in this report regarding how it handles all that traffic that really threw me. ChatGPT sends 28.8% of its referrals to a website's internal search results pages rather than the specific page that actually answers the user's query.
Yeah, that's a huge shift.
It's like a taxi driver dropping you off at a mall directory instead of the specific store you asked to go to. Is optimizing a website's internal search UX just a massive, ignored blind spot right now?
What's fascinating here is why this is happening mechanically. It exposes a major limitation in how these models interact with the live web. Large language models are incredibly good at understanding the user's semantic intent. They know exactly what product or answer you want. But they don't hold a real-time perfect map of every website's nested, messy URL architecture.
Oh, because that would take too much power.
Exactly. Finding the exact product page deep in a site's subfolders takes too much computational effort and risks a broken link error.
So the AI essentially takes a shortcut.
It takes the path of least resistance. It constructs a query string, injects it into the site's own internal search bar, and sends the user there. It passes that final mile of navigation back to the website itself.
That makes sense.
But if your site's internal search is clunky, if it yields 0 results for a slight synonym variation, or if it loads slowly, you are immediately bouncing nearly a third of the highly qualified traffic ChatGPT is handing you on a silver platter.
That feels like leaving money on the table in the worst way possible. But we really can't talk about search without addressing the elephant in the room, Google. With ChatGPT eating up 92% of standalone AI traffic, are traditional search engines just accepting defeat?
Not at all. Google is playing a totally different game, operating at a scale that is just hard to overstate. Google AI overviews are serving 2.5 billion users monthly. Their dedicated AI mode just passed 1 billion users in its first year.
Unbelievable scale.
Yeah. And at Google I/O, they announced they were entirely rebuilding search globally from the ground up, making the Gemini 3.5 Flash model the default engine.
And we are seeing the fruits of that rebuild right now in July 2026. Google just rolled out live news carousels, AI-generated images, and new citation displays inside those AI overviews. Plus, search isn't just text anymore. You can attach images, documents, videos, and even open browser tabs directly to your queries.
Right, multimodal input is changing the very nature of what a search query even is. And because of this, getting cited inside an AI-generated response isn't just a nice bonus or a PR win anymore. It is the primary visibility metric. Which brings a lot of relevance to the GEO optimization guide Google published on May 15.
GEO generative engine optimization, basically the new SEO.
Precisely. In that guide, Google explicitly identified the 5 content types that reliably earn AI citations.
Okay, what are they?
They are original research, expert analysis, first-hand experience, unique data, and proprietary perspective.
I look at that list and it feels like they are actively demanding genuine human effort and real-world friction. They don't want regurgitated encyclopedia entries anymore.
They're actively trying to combat the synthetic echo chamber. If an LLM trains on AI-generated content, it eventually collapses into meaningless noise. Google needs ground truth. And importantly, that May 15 guide definitively debunked a major rumor in the technical community.
Oh, about the text files.
Yes, it confirmed that LMS.txt files, which people were building to try and feed instructions directly to AI bots, do not receive any special treatment from Google's crawlers.
That transitions us into a really profound shift in how we actually have to approach content strategy. If AI platforms are doing the searching, the reading, and the summarizing for us, traditional user behavior is just breaking down. The report notes that over 2/3 of searches on both desktop and mobile are now what we call zero-click.
That is the new reality. A user asks a question, the AI provides the answer inline via an overview or a widget, and the user never clicks a link to visit an external site. 2/3 of the time, the digital journey ends right there on the search page.
Which is terrifying if your business model relies on ad impressions or website traffic. This is where the experts at Moz introduced this new 2026 concept called relevance engineering.
Right.
The core premise is that traditional keyword tracking is completely dead. But I have to play devil's advocate here. How can keywords be dead when people are obviously still typing words to search for things?
Because search is no longer universal. In the old days, if 10 users searched for best running shoes, they all saw the exact same 10 blue links. You could track that keyword, rank number 1, and accurately project your traffic. Today, every single user sees a uniquely generated experience.
Wow.
It's tailored to their search history, their geographic location, their past purchases, and the LLM's dynamic interpretation of their specific intent in that exact millisecond. You simply cannot track a keyword ranking if the ranking literally doesn't exist uniformly across all users.
So if I'm a small business and I don't have a team of data scientists, how do I actually format my content for this relevance engineering without a massive budget? The report mentions mapping query fanouts. If I understand this right, it's about anticipating the web of related questions the AI will trigger. Like, if I sell a camping tent, I don't just optimize for the word tent. I need to build an interconnected content ecosystem covering weatherproofing, weight, setup time, and durability.
That's the foundation, yes. But it's also about formatting that content so it is instantly extractable by a machine. LLMs are now actively penalizing what the industry calls commodity content.
Define commodity content for me. What does that actually look like?
Well, commodity content is information that already exists abundantly in the AI's base training data. If you write a 500-word blog post on how to pitch a tent, you are providing zero new value to a model that has already ingested 10,000 articles on how to pitch a tent. The AI will just ignore you. To win a citation, you must provide first-party unique data. You need to provide the wind resistance test results you conducted yourself on that specific tent.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Old school SEO used to be a game of tricking algorithms. You'd stuff keywords into a page, you'd hide text in white font on a white background, you'd buy shady backlinks. But relevance engineering implies you actually have to be genuinely unique and properly structured. You can't fake firsthand experience to a machine that has read the entire internet.
You can't fake it, and you have to remove all ambiguity about what you are presenting. This is why entity SEO has become so paramount. Entity SEO is the practice of structuring your content around distinct, unambiguous concepts, people, places, or organizations, rather than just loose strings of text.
Okay, I've heard entity SEO thrown around, but practically speaking, what does that look like in the code? How does it combat this zero-click environment?
You achieve it through structured data, specifically formats like JSON-LD. Think of JSON-LD like putting digital barcode labels on your text so the AI scanner can read it instantly without having to guess what the paragraph means.
Yeah.
If you write a product page, the AI has to parse your descriptive text to figure out the price, the author, and the stock levels. But if you wrap that data in JSON-LD code in the background, you're essentially handing the LLM a perfectly organized database. It clearly says product, tent, price, $200, in stock.
Yes. So instead of hoping the AI understands my beautiful prose, I'm literally handing it a digital spec sheet hidden in the code.
Precisely. The AI doesn't have to guess. So when it generates that zero-click answer for the user, your highly structured, unique data is the easiest, most authoritative piece of information for it to grab and cite. We are even seeing Bing Webmaster Tools now calculating AI citation share to tell you your relative share of voice inside Copilot and Bing AI answers, completely based on how well you structure these entities.
Okay, but if traditional keyword rankings are dead and every user gets a unique AI response, how on earth are marketing teams actually measuring success? It sounds like trying to measure a cloud. Where is the ROI data coming from?
It was a massive black box right up until June 3, 2026. That date was a watershed moment. Google launched massive, dedicated generative AI performance reports natively inside Google Search Console.
Finally bringing measurement out of the dark ages.
Exactly. For the first time, brands gain native measurement of AI overviews and AI mode impressions. The granularity is incredible. You can view data from a monthly view down to an hourly breakdown, filtering by specific pages, countries, and devices. It doesn't include click-through rate data yet, but just seeing impression trends by page natively changes the game.
That's huge.
And they also added an opt-out toggle a few weeks later on June 17, allowing publishers to remove their content from AI features entirely without hurting their traditional organic rankings.
Which is a crucial olive branch to publishers who were furious about their original reporting being scraped and summarized without any compensation or traffic. Now, alongside Google Search Console, the new standard digital meta-analysis identified 4 consensus core tools that make up the modern 2026 SEO tech stack. Because if measurement was the first problem, the second problem is visibility across all these fragmented platforms.
And that is exactly where the first tool, SEMrush 1, comes in. The meta-analysis aggregated over 80 expert rankings and placed it as the most defensible single pick for an AI SEO platform. They analyzed 126 million US AI search prompts across ChatGPT, Gemini, Google AI overviews, and Perplexity to see who was actually showing up.
And the craziest stat from that SEMrush study, out of those 126 million prompts, they found that only 36 brands rank in the top 100 consistently across all 4 of those AI platforms. Just 36.
It's remarkably low.
But wait, I have to push back on this. If maintaining consistent visibility across ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity is mathematically that difficult, shouldn't smaller businesses just pick one like ChatGPT, since it has 92% of the standalone traffic and completely abandon optimizing for the rest? Why fight a war on 4 fronts?
Connect this to the bigger picture. Abandoning the other platforms is a very dangerous game. Yes, ChatGPT dominates standalone chat referrals as of July 2026, but you have to look at the scale of the ecosystems. Google's AI mode has 1 billion users. Google Overviews reach 2.5 billion.
Good point.
More importantly, the platforms serve entirely different user intents. ChatGPT is often conversational, coding-focused, or task-oriented. Google remains heavily discovery and commercial-oriented. If someone's looking to buy, they're still heavily leaning on Google's ecosystem. Ignoring one to chase the other leaves massive revenue on the table. That's why cross-platform command centers like SEMrush 1 are critical.
That makes sense. You can't just chase the shiny object if the buyer intent isn't there. So what about backlinks? In the old days, getting other sites to link to yours was everything. Are links totally obsolete now, or does the AI still care?
They still matter immensely for authority, but the velocity and context of those links are judged far more harshly by AI models. This is where the second tool in our core 4 comes in, Ahrefs. It is still the gold standard for backlink intelligence, with an index that updates every 15 to 30 minutes. But to survive in 2026, they've added powerful AI-assisted anomaly detection.
How does that actually help a site owner?
While starting at their $99 a month tier, the platform now automatically flags link velocity anomalies. Say your site is suddenly the victim of a toxic spam attack from a bot farm, or, conversely, a competitor rapidly gains high-value links in an unnatural way. The AI flags the mechanical footprint of that activity instantly. It's preferred by technical SEOs who want raw, unfiltered data to diagnose authority issues before an LLM decides their site is untrustworthy.
Okay, so Ahrefs monitors our authority, but how do we actually write the content the AI wants to read? If I shouldn't stum keywords, how do I know what semantic concepts the LLM expects to see?
That brings up the natural language processing side of things, which is where the third tool, Surfer SEO, dominates. They scored a 4.8 out of 5 on G2 because they solved the problem of semantic gaps.
Break down semantic gaps for me.
AI models understand language through mathematical relationships, vectors. They don't just look for the word coffee. They know that documents highly authoritative on coffee also frequently contain terms like roast profile, extraction yield, and Arabica.
Oh, okay.
If your article on coffee lacks those semantically related concepts, the AI considers your content shallow. Surfer SEO analyzes the top-ranking pages in real time, finds those missing semantic concepts in your draft, and suggests them. Their proprietary content score ensures your writing actually meets the deep semantic requirements LLMs are looking for.
Got it. So we are structurally sound, we have authority, and our semantics are dialed in. But what if the AI literally can't load our website properly?
Then none of the rest matters. And that is why the final tool rounding out the stack is Screaming Frog, the $290 a year desktop crawler. It remains the absolute standard for technical health crawling, JavaScript rendering paths, finding broken links, checking core web vitals. But for 2026, they've integrated AI that completely changes how technical audits are handled. It prioritizes technical issues based on their potential traffic impact.
Wait, if an AI is prioritizing my broken links, isn't there a risk it misinterprets my most valuable page as low priority? How do we trust the machine to know our business?
Because the tool cross-references your analytics data with the structural errors. It solves one of the oldest problems in technical SEO communicating ROI to stakeholders. In the past, you'd hand a developer a spreadsheet of 10,000 broken links and they'd ignore it.
Yeah, true.
Now the AI triage says, fix these 3 specific JavaScript rendering errors first, because they are actively blocking your checkout page, which accounts for 40% of your revenue from being parsed by Google's Gemini. It connects technical debt directly to financial impact.
That is a massive paradigm shift for workflow. Okay, we've talked about getting AI to read your content, and we've talked about the tools to measure it. But this last section of the July 27 report highlights what feels like the final, almost sci-fi evolution of search agentic SEO. This is all about optimizing for machines that don't just read information, but actually take action on your behalf.
This is the true frontier of 2026. We are moving rapidly beyond search as a discovery mechanism and into search as an execution mechanism. Users now expect their smart devices, Google Nest, smart TVs, personal AI assistants to book the haircut appointment, order the takeout, or play the specific media without them ever having to open a browser window or click through a website.
So if you are a business, how do you even show up for a transaction that happens invisibly?
You have to optimize the deep backend. Agentic SEO relies entirely on how well your APIs, databases, and content structures communicate directly with autonomous AI agents. The report highlights 2 major new technical protocols that have become standard this year. The first is ACP, the Agentic Commerce Protocol. This is specifically designed for e-commerce. It ensures your product feeds, real-time inventory levels, and dynamic pricing are perfectly readable by an AI agent that is trying to negotiate a purchase for a user.
And the second one is MCP, right?
Yes, the Model Context Protocol. This is used to surface subscription or media content. It allows an AI assistant to search securely within your proprietary data silos and serve that data directly into the user's interface, bypassing your website's front door entirely.
So what does this all mean? To me, it feels like traditional front-end SEO. You know, the pretty website with the nice fonts, the hero images, the perfectly written blog post is really just the window display. But back-end agentic SEO, using protocols like ACP, that is the plumbing in the inventory system. If a user's AI agent tries to buy your product, but it can't read your ACP feed, it doesn't matter how pretty your window display is. It's like a robot personal shopper walking face first into a locked door. They will just immediately pivot and go buy from your competitor.
That is exactly what happens. If traditional SEO was about painting a beautiful, eye-catching billboard for human eyes, agentic SEO is about printing a barcode in infrared so a drone can scan it at 60 miles an hour. It's totally invisible to us, but it's the only thing the machine actually cares about. And this urgency is completely reinforced by Google's new crawl budget guidelines that came out in July 2026.
Right, crawl budget. Why is Google so stingy with how much of a site they will scan anyway?
Well, because computing power isn't infinite. Scraping and rendering the entire internet continuously costs Google billions in server compute and electricity. They don't want to waste resources parsing slow, messy legacy code. In the past, Older, massive domains were passively granted massive crawl budgets simply because of their domain age.
The 20-year-old legacy.coms just got a free pass.
Precisely. But that era is officially over. The July 2026 guidelines explicitly state that domain age no longer guarantees crawl budget. Every website, no matter how famous, now starts at a modest baseline. Additional crawl budget must be actively earned.
Earned how?
Through incredibly low server latency, flawless machine-readable site architecture, and actual measurable user demand. It is a strict, brutal meritocracy of technical performance now.
And this raises an important question. How many major legacy brands are going to become completely invisible to the next generation of digital consumers simply because their back-end infrastructure is too slow or too outdated to talk to an AI agent? If your APIs aren't prepared for agent-driven interaction, you effectively do not exist in this new digital economy.
We are going to see massive legacy companies slowly suffocate because they refuse to upgrade their infrastructure to speak to the machines.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground during this deep dive. Looking at this specific July 27, 2026 snapshot of the internet, we started by unpacking ChatGPT's sheer monopoly, gobbling up 92.4% of AI referral traffic, and becoming an immediate local search threat with its Yelp integration.
We explored how Google is countering with Gemini 3.5 Flash, rolling out multimodal search and demanding real, human-centric, unique data to combat the flood of commodity AI spam.
We looked at the critical mindset shift from old-school keyword trickery to relevance engineering. We learned that defeating the zero-click search environment means using JSON-LD to structure your data so perfectly that the AI has no choice but to cite you as the ultimate authority. And we walked through the 2026 tech stack, SEMrush 1 for cross-platform visibility, RX for anomaly detection, Surfer SEO for bridging semantic gaps, and Screaming Frog for AI prioritized triage, which makes measuring this invisible landscape actually possible.
And finally, we arrived at the back-end reality of agentic SEO, where protocols like ACP and MCP dictate whether an AI can actually transact with your business in the dark.
Why does all this matter to you? Whether you are managing a massive enterprise e-commerce operation or a niche local blog, the old safety nets are gone. Relying on your domain's age or churning out commodity content that just repeats what's already out there is no longer a viable strategy for survival. Survival today dictates unique first-party data on the front end and lightning-fast, machine-readable infrastructure on the back end.
It is a complete evolution, from optimizing for human eyes to optimizing for machine comprehension.
Which leaves me with one final kind of wild thought for you to chew on as you evaluate your own digital strategy. If AI agents are increasingly using invisible protocols like ACP and MCP to browse, evaluate, and actually purchase things for us, will our beautifully designed, human-readable front-end websites eventually become obsolete? Will they just be a nostalgic novelty, like putting on a digital vinyl record while the real digital economy happens entirely in the dark, silently communicating back and forth between APIs?
It's a profound and slightly unsettling shift to consider. The Internet of Documents is rapidly becoming the Internet of Agents.
It really is. That's all for this deep dive. Keep optimizing, and we'll catch you next time.